to another episode of the Talk of the Ring Show. I hope y'all like the whole new little background, the new intro, guys. I was super excited, but I'm really excited for today's episode because I say it all the time. We don't have a lot of female talent come on here, so when we get them on, we talk for like an hour and a half, which is cool. It's fine, but let's give a warm welcome. I should ask her how to properly say her name because I know I'm gonna mess it up now. But let's give a warm welcome to Marie Valdomina. I think she froze. Yeah, she froze. It's okay. Maybe I froze. Nope, there she is. There she is.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Okay. What's up? Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing really good. I have been one of the people who've been sick like everybody else for the past week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to turn myself into the doctor and be like, help me, give me some antibiotics. I'm feeling better now. I sounded like this last week, but I'm doing a little bit better now.
I was the same way. Like last week I had 2 episodes and I was just getting over the flu. So I was like, oh my God. I sounded like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was pretty down in the dumps, and I usually don't get sick, but I was messed up. I had just had an upper respiratory infection. So yeah. I'm doing good now though.
Yeah, that's good. I had the flu for like a week and a half. I'm finally just feeling better now. So I get it.
I absolutely get that. And letting you know you're the first woman podcast that I've been on. So woo!
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did like 7 last year. So you're the first of the year.
To start off, anyways, we have my father hyping us up because,
Oh my gosh. Hey! Oh, that is so cute that your dad is supportive like that. That's super cute. Hey, Dad.
I'm going to hop right into it with who or what got you into wrestling.
I'm an only child, so I would be in my room and I would either be playing video games or I would be switching through channels on cable, and I would scroll past Spike and I'd scroll past WWE, and I'd see TNA and WWE quite frequently. And that's when I had picked and chosen, like I'd watch both of them, but I was like, oh, I want to do that. And I didn't tell my dad and my family about it because I knew what they were doing, and it makes more sense now for a young lady to say, I want to do that when I grow up, as opposed to me looking at it when I was a young lady and saying, oh, I want to do that when I grow up, because
yeah,
it wasn't very tasteful in some points.
No, definitely. I mean, and it's good. It's kind of cool because the female rosters used to never be as big as they are now. I mean,
I'm
in the Pennsylvania area too. So on the indie scene, they don't got a lot of decently good female talent, and I mean that with all the love in me.
Oh, for real, yeah. I kind of get separated from this pool of female quite frequently because of my size, so I kind of stick out a little bit.
Yeah, but it's fine because my father said, he says, what's good, keep kicking ass.
So. Thanks. Thanks, Dad.
So, if people don't know, are you a heel or are you a face?
It depends who pisses me off. It really depends. I just enjoy being there, and if somebody's going to crap on my parade, then I'm sorry, but I usually end up being... No, you use the correct terms. So let's say I just do what I'm asked of. I want to make a nice production. I want to meet new people. I want to meet new girls specifically. Um, and I just want to give somebody, the first time talking to me, getting to know me. And most of the time, they don't really get to know me before they just ask me to do something. So most of the time, it lands on me being bigger than the other girl. And I'm only 5'2", so uh, yeah, most of the time it does land on me being somewhat larger than the other girl, or
Yeah.
whoever my opponent is. And I usually, for the most part, end up being heel.
Yeah. I mean, I saw you at, it was kind of funny how this worked. I saw you at the High Ground show, and I saw you and Ashley, like, y'all were talking at first, and then, like, y'all got into the ring and started training. And I was like, oh my God, they're so pretty. I want to have them on the podcast. And my father goes, just go up to them. I'm like, that one looks scary, but in a good way. He's like, just go ask her. I was like, but what if she's a heel? Come to find out, you wrestled. You were a heel, but you were still very nice about it. So,
Yeah, I've had it swing both ways. Usually with kids, they're more accepting of it because they want to come and they want to talk crap to you.
yeah,
So, like, uh, just like anybody else, I'm not going there thinking about how much money can I leave with tonight. I'm going there thinking, how can I interact with these fans, even though I'm a heel tonight, because back in the day, heels and faces used to have separate locker rooms. So, um, it's still real to me, damn it.
I, I mean, yeah, you definitely. You're very nice. You're cheerful, but that heel tendency takes over. Like you
It
said, if
does.
someone pisses you off, you just, you gotta do what you gotta
Oh,
do.
sometimes I've been on a lot of these, so I kind of, based upon like what terms you're using and how you're using them, I have to guesstimate whether or not kayfabe is okay or not. So I was just joking, but yeah, I usually, for the most part, I always end up walking in, and like if I would meet somebody, like half 50% of my matches that I have, I know the people, and then sometimes I haven't even met them before. So um definitely very nice and very businesslike, and then letting them know, like, hey, we could take care of each other business wise before we can become friends, because let's keep it real, nobody's really friends until you get to know people, and people are very like standoffish on establishing friendships because it's a competitive sport for sure.
Yeah, it really is because everyone wants that top spot, but like you got to work together to like equally share that spot. Like no one's gonna be, you're not gonna be better than someone else. Y'all equally can. You know what I mean?
Right,
Obviously, some people are better than others in different ways, but in the respectful manner, y'all can work together to get there.
right. And like you said, there are a lot more girls on TV and than there are in the indies in our area. And yeah, it's slowly growing, and it's slowly inclining, but um, half of these people I've already worked with before, and um, there are still new people that I'm working. And
Yeah.
some people I already know, like Shelby Waters, like I already know some people, but I just haven't had a chance, like shared the same shows, but haven't had a chance to wrestle them. And
Yeah.
quite frankly, I enjoy that there are other girls that I have on Facebook, and like I have my eye on other people and stuff. And we just haven't wrestled yet, and eventually somebody will catch on to that. But then there's some promoters that are just circling around with the same 3 girls, 2 girls, and it's like, hey, there's this whole new world out here, and even if that whole new world isn't new and has been around for 8 years, 6 years, it doesn't matter. Like, hey, you can't really get people to open up. They have to do that themselves. And you just basically can be like, hey, I'm here. So all of us are frequently just trying to prove ourselves and just constantly going online and just networking. And, you know, that's what it comes down to, just being seen and, networking as much as you can, as much as possible. There's no way really around it. Like if we stopped doing that, then we wouldn't really be anybody anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it too because there are certain promotions that have like three females on the roster. Obviously, like there's not a lot of females, and I get it, but it's
Yeah.
like the same three females facing each other every single month with the same outcome. I'm like,
What I've realized is that those people are not wanting to pay the whoever, like you can contact one female and she doesn't give you a rate that you like. Okay. Can you negotiate? No negotiating. Okay. Thank you. I'll keep you in mind for future endeavors. Like communication doesn't happen like that very much. It's
yeah,
usually just like I mean, I will always, if I think that it's a good opportunity for me, if I haven't worked there before, if it's an area if it's a state I haven't wrestled in, of course. It's differentiating whether or not this is a good business decision, or um, is it worth my time? And sometimes, we don't always get that funds back, but it's like we're constantly trying to snowball
yeah,
and to keep traction and to gain traction. And I just like being everywhere. So I just like wrestling and seeing where I could go and meeting new people. So the best thing that other girls in my area can do is like, have a list of people that you've worked with or would inspire to work with in the future. And I have a list that's like unreal, like would have to like be a bucket list, and then like that's unreal, unheard of, like might not happen. And then I have a list of ladies that are in my area that if somebody needs help, they'll come to me. If I'm that kind of general in the locker room, or if I'm a woman general and somebody wants to come to me with the money and they're like, hey, I want to book somebody, do you have a list of names? And that's usually how it goes. And if you're going to ask me for that girl's rate, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go ask her yourself, but here's her name, basically. And then that promoter will go and shoot through that list of names. And how they choose to communicate with them really matters, because at the end of the day, you might want to use them again and, say you're doing better and you guys can, um, you know, make that work. I don't say any money is too much to wrestle. And if you make, we're in the sport of making our own prices. And a lot of people, not only men and women, well, not only women, but men also, were never really given insight onto like how much to charge people when you actually start
yeah,
making money. So, um, for instance, all of us are free at first, and it's all a learning experience, and then eventually, it comes down to this person's not here because they cost too much. Well, move. Then they go down the list to the next person, basically. It's
yeah.
sad. That's sadly how it is, but there's always negotiating and stuff like that. But that's why I think that we see the same people in the locker room quite frequently.
No, yeah. I think another thing though is like if it's okay to have the same people, but like put them with someone else, like switch
Yeah.
it up a little bit, make it more intriguing. But
I like it when you have a general, like a veteran, like that person is a founding father of that company. Say the company's been around for like 6-7 years, and that person's been there since day one, or like the first 2-3 years, and then you bring in new people, and then you have them, face them, and they it's like the new people are moving up, not necessarily passing the torch or anything, but it's like, hey, it's like hurdles and obstacles to get through, and this person's been here, and it makes for good production for sure.
no, absolutely. I understand. So my dad says, "Girl, you are fluffy, and if they don't like you, then oh wells."
I haven't used that term fluffy in a while. I'm going to start doing that.
And then Joe said, "I second that," and chanting me. And guys, if you did not hear the news, Harley over here is going to be working for New Era Pro Wrestling as the backstage correspondent. So make sure you're giving them a follow on Instagram because it's important.
Yeah, take what you can do as a lady and roll with it. Watch what the other guys are doing. Quite frequently, a lot of the guys will stay stagnant because they're guys. Hello, you're a pretty girl. You look like you know a lot about the business. You're approachable. Um, in my perspective, I think girls will always make more money for wrestling, make more money for themselves, and to progress faster and to see new lights and new places faster than men in wrestling because, hello. It also is. It's fascinating to some people that when a girl starts talking about wrestling, they're like, "Oh, does she really know what she's talking about?" And then you know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
For sure. Do you hear my zipper rubbing up against this, or is that like not a thing? Okay,
No.
cool. My zipper's like rubbing up against the cord to the the earbuds, and it was making like a zip noise, and I was like, they're probably listening to this right now. I'd be so annoyed. Yeah,
No,
definitely. You can progress faster for sure by being a lady, and I don't, it's just like like people are curious to see how much you know, and
yeah,
then you blow them out of the water.
absolutely. My dad says, "Preach it. Let them know. No more locked doors."
No more locked doors. Nope.
And it's kind of funny too, like with the whole wrestling thing, because I started a new job. So like I'm telling them about that. They're like, "Whoa, you know a lot for a female." I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of invested."
It almost, when I was younger, it would almost piss the guys off. It's like, sorry, you didn't watch this weekend. You must not be dedicated. Like, and I don't even, now it's come to the point where, like, when I was training, I was the only girl in my facility. I'm always the only girl in my facility. So I wanted another girl to train with us so bad, and there was other girls. It's just, certain things would come about, and then they move on with their life or had started a family or something. So as for 9 years, I'm the only one who really stuck around. And I used to look at the guys as, what can I do to be more like them?
Yeah,
And then I would start, not for anything, but I would start analyzing how they were with other people in other areas. And that's when I started realizing, like, yeah, this is safe. They're doing it the good way. And I like that. And how can I be more like them? And that can suck sometimes too.
yeah,
So, uh, for sure, yeah, definitely just trying to like tape study and do your research because I was born in '94, so I've watched a lot of wrestling before then. Or
yeah.
if I was too young to watch it on my own.
No, yeah, definitely gotta have a little bit studying before anything. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
so you kind of just like mentioned like training and everything, but who trained you?
I train in Syracuse, and my trainer is Zachary Springate the third and Isis Effects.
Okay.
So if you're like familiar with this area, there was a promotion in Syracuse that ran for, I think, 12, correct me if I'm wrong, 12 or 15 years. I can't remember which, over 10 years. And unfortunately, as I started realizing that independent wrestling was a thing and that, wow, I could do this and I can get because so you're sitting at home and you're watching like your favorite show, right? Or
Mhm.
your favorite actor, and you're like, the possibilities of me doing this are crazy because I'd have to go to school or do this and this. And when I saw indie wrestling for the first time, I was at a 95X concert, and it was in upstate New York, somewhere around my area, around Syracuse, and I ended up seeing one of my trainers wrestling, and then I saw Sabu, and I was like, holy crap, that's Sabu, like ECW Sabu, like we're talking about right here. So first time I saw him is ECW. So I was like, how is this happening? And then I did my research and I realized that there was a school near me. And I was like, how did I not know about this? So I started in 2015. And I think I was 20 or 21. I'm
Mhm.
29 now. So
So
I was still baby and I had no idea what was going on. And I just knew that I had to be strong and I had to be tough like these other guys.
no,
And
absolutely.
it's almost like I already knew a lot of stuff. Like I already knew a lot about wrestling. And when you're first starting, they're analyzing you and they're like, does she know? You know, like, what does she know? What does she know? How much does she know? And it felt like I was constantly at a proving ground, like proving what I was capable of, and not only that, like what I already knew. Like, hey guys, I'm smartened up a little bit, you know.
No, absolutely. So guys, we have a little like guest.
Oh,
He's like
hey!
1,000 pounds. He's like always
I
people
heard
know.
that thump when he hit the ground. He was like,
I love him, but he's a fat ass cat. But it's a
what's his name?
Furby.
Furby. That is so cute.
Yeah, he's a troublemaker though.
Aw, what a boyo.
Yeah, he's all right.
He kind of matches your hair a little bit. You guys are twins.
A little bit. So
Yeah, my
from
hair looks a little lighter on camera too.
yeah. So from like the time you started training, you kind of I think you kind of mentioned it, but like how long did it take for you to train before like you got a legit like match in front of like a crowd?
So when you're training, it is very frowned upon to make your own decisions without going to your trainer first
Mm-hmm.
and saying, "Hey, am I ready for this?" Back in the day, your trainer would give you like like the pamphlets, like the books that you'd get in the mail where you can like order stuff.
Yeah.
They used to have books like that for like wrestling boots and stuff. I don't know the exact name. I'm not going to say it's like a WWE book because like we're talking before when you used to have to give people VHSs and like burned CDs and stuff to show them your matches. We're talking before like hard drives. So they used to give their trainee a book and say, "I think you're ready, kid." And um either that or most likely the person was asking for an opportunity and they'd get thrown out there in like a squash or something. So I'm happy my first match wasn't a squash match. My first match wasn't even a battle royal. I had my first match in Maine, actually, and it was probably 2 or 3 years after I'd started training, which is a long time for most people, specifically because I was getting paid as a referee. And I had started as a referee and I was told to take any opportunity possible. So if somebody wanted me to backstage interview, if somebody wanted me to ring announce, sing the national anthem, manage, or referee, I was all for it. And so I guess it caught traction that I was a good female ref, and I was probably the only female ref at the time, besides like a few, maybe one or two other girls in the area. But at that specific time, uh, I was the only working female in upstate as a referee. So I went with it and I was like, wow, I'm meeting a lot of people. And so I got the chance to share the locker room with a lot of people and a lot of promotions as a referee for 2-3 years before I actually had my first match in Maine. And my first match was a student showcase match. So that means that I'd gone to Maine with another trainee and his girlfriend, and who offer up the car ride, whoever else wants to come, blah blah blah. We're going out to Maine, we're doing these student showcases, it's only family, you get a chance to interact with the crowd and perform in front of people, but non-paying crowd. And it's videoed, so it's taped, and you get to get critiqued and whatnot. So we did that, and uh that was my first match, and it was with one of my friends. So, yeah, I was really nervous. I was all right. When I came back, here's a little tidbit. Uh, when I came back, I was confronted and yelled at by one of the other guys in my class that had trained there longer than I had. And he's like, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you guys are ready. At that point, none of us were ready.
Yeah.
Because they had started like, he had started like, this is probably like 2 years after I started, because I have a feeling it took a lot of us a long time to actually like get into it. Like, we were wrestling for a couple places, but we didn't like hit the ground running for a while. Well, nowadays, you know, trainers are going to like different places and whatnot and bringing their students with them, and
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, this is so and so, and then they get them a spot on the card, and like everybody doesn't get paid, but they are still, you know, performing and they're learning. And we didn't really have that very much. I mean, we did travel a little bit with our trainer, but I didn't get to as much as I would have liked to. So I kind of was like shot out there, like, what do I do? But I'm a girl, so it's kind of easier when people see that, oh my God, there's a girl in the area. It's just that we don't have another girl in the area to wrestle her at 2015. So 2015, 16, 17, I don't think I was wrestling in front of people till like 2017, the end of 2016 for sure.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, especially like in the indies now, it's becoming more popular. Like, there's a lot more females than there were like in 2015, but
Yeah.
it's still like, I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
because we're out there and we're like, hey, y'all. And they're like, hey, I want to do that. And look, I'm sorry if your daughter goes home at the end of the night and she says she wants to be a wrestler. That's on you. You paid for the ticket. You messed up.
Exactly. No,
You
I
messed up. You wanted to see wrestling and you brought your daughter and she saw wrestling and now she wants to see wrestling. What's so wrong about that?
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's crazy to think that there might be some little girls that you wrestled in front of, you know, because they all come up to you and say that. And and it's crazy to think that there might be some girls that had like seen us at some point. Like, look at Cora and CM Punk.
Hmm.
So that's the fact that they have that recorded. Those moments recorded are crazy, because if somebody came back and showed me that like 10 years from now, I'd probably cry.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've been in like the business for like so long now, and it's like, that was you when you were little. I was like, yeah, I was why I was watching you wrestle, and now I work with you in a way, so it's kind of cool.
Right. And it's only up from here, because a lot of people should. We've gone a long time without people doing these backstage interviews, without people doing interviews at all.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people are cutting corners, or they just forget that it's a thing.
Yeah.
So once you're doing it on somebody else's platform, um, on somebody else's promotion, other people are going to see that and they're going to be like, hey, you know, like, let's ask her to do this for that. And you know what? It's not frowned upon, just like free game, free talent. It's not frowned upon to take you from somewhere and take you somewhere else. Unless obviously those promotions don't like each other, then that has nothing to do with anything that you've done. You're
Yeah.
basically going to get the same treatment that we're getting.
Hmm.
So, like, they're going to see you're the only one. So you're the only one doing that. So, like, they're going to take you and then you'll end up different places. So that's awesome. I think
Thank
that's great.
is
And I will absolutely tell other places about you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, what would you say for you is like your favorite thing about wrestling?
The fans, like, getting to go new places, even if I'm performing at the same place. Um, you get you get this feeling of, it's not they're here to see me, it's that I'm part of a production that these people are here to see today. And yeah, you're a small sliver of it. And like, I've main evented before, and that night, even main eventing, I was like, whoa, it's a women's match, we're main event. And I don't doubt for 1 second that you know, that makes me excited. uh I just don't doubt that people can notice that. And people are really looking at numbers now and how
Mhm.
many people are in seats. And um, there's people talking about it. But as wrestling as a whole, we should all be wanting to have a good area, like a good platform, different, just have people be happy with what they're doing. And we have so many wrestlers, and it doesn't make sense for one promotion to treat them well and for another promotion not to treat them well, because we want to prosper everywhere, especially when those places are like 2-3 hours apart. We have
No,
like this circuit that we're a part of. So and it makes me happy to be a part of so many different people's locker rooms.
no,
And I get nervous a little bit sometimes too when I'm in different locker rooms. Like,
yeah,
either you'll catch me on a day where I'm like going crazy and talking about everything, or I'm like not at all. And it's, if you see me and I'm just like quiet analyzing, there's something wrong. Because
no,
for the most part, I like going around and networking with everybody and talking to different people. So that's pretty cool.
no, absolutely. So, like, on the opposite side, what would you say is like the hardest part
The hardest part about
wrestling?
going wrestling, um, remembering that you are an athlete, and remembering that I'm also a human being.
Yeah.
And I think athletics, being athletic and being a human tie into the same things, because my mother was never really healthy, so to
Hmm.
speak. And it wasn't by choice, and a lot of it was by choice. Sadly, we all have somebody that we're close to and love in our life that is just eating poorly or suffering like mentally and unable. I say unable to because everybody wants to do well for themselves. And at the end of the day, you can't put a gun to somebody's head to eat healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, and that might change their decision to eat healthy, but like we don't have a gun to our heads at the end of the day to eat healthy.
Yeah.
So I struggle with like maintaining the fact that I need fuel to keep my body going, and self image. So at first I was all right, because when I had started I was like 140, like 145, and like I'd gotten towards like the 200 area and over the 200 area, and I was like, whoa. And then I dropped below that, and then I had people coming to me being like, oh, you lost weight, you lost weight. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I knew I gained weight, but I didn't think that anybody realized that I did until
Hmm.
they started saying that. So now the hardest part is probably body image for sure.
No,
I would say for sure. It's not like that, without any doubt, I can't go out. Like, if you want me to be that girl that goes out there and just takes everything that the fans are going to give her, like, that's me as of recently. So I've heard almost every insult that you can think of hurled at me. So I think that that also makes me pliable. So a lot of people are like, okay, this girl can take it and she gets it, and let's have her back, because I don't look like a lot of other people.
Yeah, and I think that's like the big thing too about like especially in the business and like in the indies, they're like everyone either can be so welcoming or they could be so like toxic, and
Yeah,
like well, but especially being like a female too, like you're always being judged. You're always like, it's always about you. Like the
yeah,
guys, it doesn't matter. Like yeah, they'll get a couple comments, but the females, like if they have one bad flaw, it's like oh my god, this they're completely ruined because of it. I'm like, no, it's not
yeah,
how.
we get that quite frequently, a lot as of recently. Um, it just happens. It causes females to go out of their comfort zone. It causes every wrestler to go out of their comfort zone and to try to do things that they're not familiar with. And I think the main nitty gritty thing is, at the end of the day, is just do what you're comfortable doing and what is safest for you and your opponents. So
No,
You know, I know you want to do cool, flashy stuff, but like I'm getting to the point now where I'm gonna stop doing certain things because they don't work with everybody.
yeah.
So I just, at that point, I'm just like, hey, I'm good for business. I'm a good person, and that's what it is at the end of the day. And if I'm driving home at the end of the night and I'm feeling like I didn't get on the level that I wanted to with other people, then I look at it like, is there certain things that I could have done? At that point, it's over. So,
Yeah.
um, there's always room to have people back, and I've been to a lot of places that I haven't been back to.
Yeah, that's yeah. And that's the cool thing about like all the indies because like there's so many shows that you can always work with. But yeah, my dad says make that money and pass it here. I think if she's working for it, let her keep it.
Well, yeah. I'm trying to think of new ways that I can give back to the
Yeah.
wrestling community. I don't even want to eat, like I did on a couple occasions mention what I was doing, but these are like some patent ideas for wrestling that I have a feeling that if I don't trademark them, I will lose them.
Yeah.
So it's just difficult. It's just difficult, like a way for people to get gear that is unheard of. Um, say goodbye to your normal messaging this person and sending them and then getting another pamphlet from somebody else, from a graphic designer of what you want. Say goodbye to your like pieces of paper that you are drawing out your design and giving it to or sending a picture of it to the person who's making the gear and then getting a quote. Like, I want to do something to be able to help people to make gear on a fashion where you don't have to wait for 6 months for your gear to come. Like, if you're going to be paying that money, you're going to be getting it at a certain, like, 15 to 30-day turnover. So, if that and another way for wrestlers to keep track of where they are and what they're doing and what they've accomplished.
No, yeah.
So it's just like these two things are physical. So they're like physically something that you could carry with you and take with you, or gain access to at any time. And it's just, I'm realizing that I have these ideas and that nobody else is thinking of them. And I don't want to spoil it. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited because it takes you out from being just more than like a ring announcer or more than a referee or a wrestler. You're doing something else, and then that gains traction. And then maybe more people will pay attention to you and what you do because of what you've given back to wrestling as a whole.
No, absolutely. I mean, like when I got started in the business, I was just like mainly a fan. And then I somehow transferred into like kind of working for the shows, and then now I do the podcast and I still work for the shows. But it's like that was the same way when I found out about like the new era pro wrestling. I'm like, I want to tell you so bad, but I can't. And it's like once that got posted, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this girl, she does a podcast. She's so cool." Blah blah. I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, of course. Like I said, not many people have somebody doing backstage interviews, or I mean, podcasts are frequent, but you're a lady, which is great, and not many people have backstage interviews. So once other people see that, like, you're free game, like you can go anywhere you want, and it's up to the discretion of that promoter and that office of people to say, hey, we want that here. And then, you should
Yeah,
make sure you're getting compensated. For
absolutely.
sure. I think Dad will be up here about that too, for sure. Get your money's worth, girl. At first it makes sense not to,
Yeah.
but uh I know you don't want to miss out on any opportunity that's given, because it's just like a wrestler at first. Sometimes there's just things that people want you to work for them, and they're like, hey, to get your foot in the door type thing. But if you're going to be doing it frequently and they enjoy your work and they want to have you around, any smart person will make the business decision to say, hey, what does it cost to get you out here?
Yeah.
because travel ain't free.
No, it really isn't.
But
So
I know that more than anyone. I know that what you're very eager. That's great.
yeah. So now speaking on like an indies level, you kind of said that you had a list, but on an indies level, if you could face anyone, one person, who would you want to face?
Um. Uh, wow, that's got me really good because I have. I don't really want to name drop because I think those girls know who they are.
Yeah.
Um. So. Ding, dang.
Well,
Um.
well, we could go with Shelby Waters. When she's not pregnant, you
Shelby, of course, there's
guys.
Shelby. Shelby already knows too. um, yeah, usually most of the time it's not even them not even like being working or being active or like not wrestling right now at this moment. Like it can always work for me and Shelby.
Yeah.
It's whether or not that promotion really wants either of us. So
You know.
it's just I like for me to be like I want to face this person, I want to face this person. People will look at it as like, okay, Marie has so and so on Facebook that runs this place, and they book her. So why don't I make the efforts to do that? Like I've made these efforts.
No. Yeah.
We
So
all have messages that don't get answered and stuff. So
no, absolutely. I literally anyone can vouch. I am terrible. Like actually responding back, and like every time someone messages me on like Facebook for the podcast, I am not on Facebook like as much as I am Instagram. So the message will be like sitting there for like weeks, and I'm like, oh
mhm.
my god, I am so sorry. I don't check Facebook, but
I had messaged Rosemary after me and her wrestled in North Carolina, and I I messaged her on Instagram, and she like didn't respond back to me for like 2 weeks, and she was like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I have so many messages on here that like I just have to get them at one time and scroll through them." And
yeah,
most of the time, it's probably people like, "I love you, I love you, I love you." So I was even surprised that she responded back. For me, like it's not that hard. Like I can respond back to certain people, and then I have to restrict certain people from like responding back.
yeah, because sometimes they don't be stopping. I like it's
Oh
funny
yeah.
on Facebook. There's so many more like people from like everywhere, which is crazy. And it would just be like sending me create like a lot of times Facebook for me personally is like a scam. So they'd be sending like 1,000 different links. I'm like, bro, you got me 35 messages for all these suspicious links. I am not gonna be checking. But
No, let's not do that. That's super creep. We
exactly.
I mean, we've actually had to make efforts to call people out like that as of recently. So we're not above calling people out like that. Only if they're doing it in even if you're not malicious, sometimes you need to be stopped. I'm sorry. Certain people shouldn't have access to the internet. That's point blank.
Absolutely. 1,001%
You can
agree.
go to the wrestling shows and everything, but like you shouldn't be sending stuff if you want to be allowed to these wrestling shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because sometimes they be fanning too much. Like you can only be a fan at to a certain extent.
Oh, correct. Yeah. Um, a lot of people are getting caught up with whether or not people are in a spectrum or not, and if things are okay if they're in a spectrum. And my point of view is like, certain people have to be appointed to be in public so that they can communicate better with other people,
Yeah.
and they have a friend or relative or a, a directional support person helping them in public. And if you are going to wrestling shows, or if you have access to the internet and you are abusing those rights, then either in my mind I'm thinking that you are somebody who needs to be appointed by somebody, or you are somebody who's doing this in a malicious intent. So, I mean, we're ladies. You can't be doing that, or you can't be doing it to anybody at all. It's
No,
just not okay.
it really isn't. But so back on like dream matches, I guess you can say. So Shelby is one for the Indies.
Oh yeah.
But if you could be an overall like WWE or AEW, they could be alive or dead. Who would you want to face?
Um,
It could be male or female.
Victoria, for sure. Victoria.
Yeah.
Um, Gail Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey James. And Mickey Knuckles.
Okay, okay. I love your work and like how you wrestle. So I think someone like you would work great with is probably, and I love her to pieces, but like either Nia Jax or Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I absolutely love Nia. Seeing how y'all gotta like, I think you know as much as I do because we analyze the women talent a lot. That Nia is one of her own, and
Yeah.
there aren't any other ladies that are on the indies that are like her.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling that her mannerisms that she and the way that she moves might be dumbed down a little bit, specifically because like I've had people that tell me that I should like work like a Leon, like work like a Vader, like
Mm-hmm.
Vader-esque,
Yeah.
like move slower. Um, I've had people tell me that I should move faster. So I have a feeling that she's found like a ground where she's able to be comfortable with the company that she's working for.
Yeah.
So, and she's doing something right now that for Naya works. And that's the reason why they have brought her back. Because, I mean, even me, like, her coming out and her having her match with Rhea and like just for sitting straight up on her, just sitting on her. And I was like, yeah, she was told to do that. So I mean, like at the end of the day, we all know that, but they get torn up for it. So she gets torn up for it specifically, and I've told promoters it's coming out of my mouth that I don't want to work and be like a Naya.
Yeah.
But it just happens. Like you're walking out there and the fans are sizing you up and they're looking at you. And as long as she exists right now, I'm going to be I'm going to be compared to her. So for me it works because she doesn't look like anybody else on the roster, and it makes me wonder why there aren't more girls on WWE that are her size.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. It's
oh,
almost like they want to blow her up and make her like monster-esque, if you get what I'm saying. Like, but she
absolutely.
doesn't need that, and I just think that it would work better. I mean, she doesn't have a frightening, scary gimmick. But it makes sense. I'm not like most girls. Is literally makes sense. But yeah, they brought her back for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
So
think that they would bring her back.
yeah, hopefully they just use her in the same way and let her get. I think Nia would.
Man, I feel bad because like the promo that Becky cut on her, like you're unsafe, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third, like they literally took what was popular and they ran with it.
Yeah.
But in the other light, you see these girls doing TikToks and stuff together with other people,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, for the most part, they they keep they protect kayfabe with their TikToks. Like they're not going to be doing TikTok dances with the girl that their opponent that night. But
Yeah.
later down the road, you might see them in the TikTok together or something, and you're like, oh, I thought they hated each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I'm like, okay, yeah. Like for instance, the Naya and Flair situation, like that blew up and broke the internet because everybody still thinks so.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's cool because a lot of times, like especially like with little kids, or like those little fans at the shows, they're gonna believe literally everything, and so it gets them invested, and they're like, "Oh my god," or this and that.
They
There
are
was
so ruthless. Those little kids are so ruthless. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god, there was this little kid at high ground sitting right in front of me, and it was funny enough. It was like your match with Ashley, and then there was with Ricky Price and someone else, and the little kid was going back and forth with me, and I was like, "Yo, child, you're gonna get smacked."
Hold
Like,
on, my thing cut out.
you're good, hun.
I don't know why. Okay, there we go. It was like refresh your app and everything. I was like, I'm turning that camera off and turning it back on.
It's so
I'm
good.
right next to this. I'm right next to the Wi-Fi right now. That's ridiculous. Like, do I need a LAN to make this work? Like Spectrum, you better.
Exactly. It's always something, but it's okay. Yeah, but little kids are ruthless. I literally love them, but one day that little kid at high ground, I love him to pieces. I've seen him a million other times because he's close with Crow as well.
Mhm.
But he'd be like, no, that wrestler sucks. I'm like, take that back. You don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, no, I think they're cool. I'm like, no, they're the bad guys. They're like, no, they're good. I was like, yo, child, you're gonna get smacked.
Yeah, little kids got a mouth for sure. They'll tell you how they feel.
No, yeah. It's cool. So, if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you could find me at Marie Valdomina on Facebook, and you could find me at Marie Valdomina on Instagram. I do not Twitter.
Yeah,
I
Twitter.
do not, unfortunately.
So,
For a while, I was going to, but I was just it's too much for me right now.
yeah, it's very toxic. It's very political too.
Oh
So,
yeah,
it's not the place to be. So, if people wanted to see you at like upcoming shows, where can they find you at? Or
awesome.
yeah, go ahead.
The first show for me going back this year I'll be at Titan on the 13th, and we're gonna be in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. You can find you can find that poster, you can find that link on my page, on my Facebook, on my Instagrams. And then you will also be able to see me that's going to be the 13th, and then the following day I'll be making my way past my house to the other direction to Rochester, New York, and I will be wrestling in Rochester, taking on their women's champion Adriana Fury. So that's going to be fun to see my Rochester friends again, and I'm hoping that we don't get snow because they get dumped with snow over there.
I mean,
Oneida dumps people with not even Oneida. Ontario dumps people with snow, like
yeah.
Buffalo and Rochester area. So then come back, and we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with Excite in Binghamton. Excite's also going to be at the fairgrounds in New York in February. So there's going to be a con that day, WrestleCon. So it's called WrestleQs. So that's really huge right now. If I have anything that's getting the most views on my Facebook, it's that. So I'm looking forward to potentially wrestling in Syracuse, my hometown, for the first time. That's in the bucket list works. And seeing what else February and March have planned for me.
No, definitely. I think 2024 is going to be a great year for everyone. So
Yeah,
many opportunities, more, there's wrestling like every weekend. So who knows what could happen. So,
absolutely.
yeah, but thank you so much for coming on. Guys,
Thank
please
you.
click her little link down below and follow her because it's the least you can do.
I'm always here to support all of our women in wrestling.
Guys, so yeah, I love the females because we don't get a lot of them on. So I'm always over here fangirling. I'm like, oh my God, she's but yeah, so guys, I will be back tomorrow with Vincent Torres, I'm pretty sure. And then Friday, we'll have another female talent on, Vanna Black. So I'm really excited for her too, because she's the scary one, to be honest. But
Ooh,
thank you so much, Marie. It was
more
very
names that I like. Like I like new names and stuff like that, so that's cool. So, because one of these days people are gonna be like, "Who's that?" And then we're looking up who that person is.
exactly. And it helps them both out.
Yeah.
But thank you all so much, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.